The family of Keishon Thomas wants answers after a community briefing video released by the Milwaukee Police Department Friday left them with way more questions about his in-custody death.
He said, well, I just want to let you know he's deceased. Huh?
She says she's been given no other details. According to investigators, Keishon was stopped near 22nd and Capitol for a traffic violation around 1:55 a.m. Wednesday. There was a warrant out for him tied to other traffic violations, so he was arrested and taken to District 5. At 6:19 Wednesday evening, he was pronounced dead inside a District 5 holding cell.
District 5 bookers conducted multiple cell checks, and at approximately 5:53 p.m., a District 5 booker observed the individual in need of medical attention. Officers provided life-saving measures until relieved by the Milwaukee Fire Department. Ultimately, the individual was pronounced deceased.
The police audio and video from that night in late February when he passed away stated that Thomas had not been checked on for at least 16 hours. It could be heard on video, a paramedic saying that the last known well check was 16 hours ago when he was incarcerated.
When Keishon Thomas is at District 5, twice he's able to ingest drugs that he had on him. Once lunging into the back of a police vehicle.
I have them all. You ate them? I ate the little smoke I had.
And another time, he removes a bag from his pants and eats more drugs while awaiting booking. A booking officer questions him, even suggesting he go to the hospital.
I
think we should just do something in the hospital.
Police later explained Thomas formally declined, stating he signed a medical form before he was taken to a holding cell. Keep in mind, this video is from an officer's body camera and includes timestamps of this moment. However, from the two angles we have of surveillance cameras at District 5, there are no timestamps on these cameras. Thomas walks freely into the cell at an unknown time. Milwaukee police show on the video this camera is motion activated. However, we've only been provided angles of when Thomas entered the cell and when he was discovered. Milwaukee police tell the I-Team video exists of officers checking on Thomas between the times of 3 and 6 a.m., but say it was deliberately left out of the community briefing. When they discovered Thomas's body, about a dozen officers come running, calling for Narcan, and were told they immediately start life-saving measures. The I-Team obtained radio traffic from responding EMTs.
Last known well was 16 hours ago when he was incarcerated.
The radio states 16 hours passed between Thomas entering the cell and officers finding his body. The responding EMTs continue with life-saving measures, giving an indication to the state Thomas's body was in when they arrived.
He had a rigid airway. Fluids are not flowing. Frequent finger tips and earlobes were not yielding blood flow.
Last known well 16 hours ago, who has multiple signs of rigidity, lividity.
Now, according to the National Institutes of Health, rigor mortis typically sets in about 2 hours after death.
Milwaukee Police Association has said that these community briefing videos are created by the Milwaukee Police Department to promote transparency with the public, saying that it's important that the public trust police officers with what they're doing and to have the transparency to show that we're not trying to hide anything. But Thomas's family argues the most relevant part of the video was edited out.
Girlfriend and the mother of his 5-month-old baby girl says she spoke to him right before he was taken into custody. She says she spent hours Wednesday trying to get information on him and didn't find out he was dead until 9 p.m.
I'm like, did he get released because he's still not on a booking site, and they said it was still an ongoing investigation.
As Keishon's death is investigated, his family is left saving photos and videos of him for his little girl. This, the last message he sent.
I love you.
Now 3 officers are on administrative duty pending the investigation.
The Milwaukee Police Department's standard operating procedure says that cell checks must be done 4 times every hour.
Bookers are required to conduct visual cell block checks a minimum of 4 times an hour. During those checks, they're required to ensure the prisoner is present and has no apparent physical problems. And shift commanders are required to physically enter cells and conduct a visual check at least once per shift.
The video, which the police department finally released last Friday, shows Thomas was being placed into a cell, and then the video cuts to where he was found dead. Everything edited out was the cell checks that the police department claimed were being made in between.
In the video, Thomas tells police that he ingested a rock and an ecstasy pill and that he'd smoked marijuana before the arrest. At one point, Thomas tells police he doesn't feel well. An officer asks if he wanted to go to the hospital. He says no, so they take him to a holding cell instead.
Just stand by. We'll be right back with you in a minute, okay, boss?
Okay, sir.
From the start, Keishon Thomas is respectful to the officer who pulled him over on Capitol Drive.
And he's always been a very respectful, very polite young man.
Even as Thomas attempts to conceal what police believe was narcotics, he's apologetic.
Trying to eat it.
All right, so there's one rock. Where's the other one? I have no more. I ate them. You ate them?
Thomas's family has a real problem knowing officers saw him swallow something and didn't get him help.
Whether they want it or not, you should be getting the medical assistance for that.
President of the police department goes on to say, I think that it just comes down to a time of video or how much is there to go through. The president of the police department was asked why the portions of the cell checks had been edited out before release, and their response was, I think that just comes down to a time of video or how much is there to go through. There's no cover-up on the police department's aspect. Civil rights attorney Lamar does not think that releasing the footage that Thomas's family wants to see would compromise the investigation if it shows that officers did act within the policy. He said these are the type of calls for transparency that the community and the families are looking for in these types of cases. And it is because if there's nothing to be shown or nothing material, just release it. And that closes the issue, he said. Also, a law school professor says that if this case does end up in court, then the Milwaukee police would have to provide the entire unedited video. However, he says that the department does have the right under state law to withhold that video at this time since it is still under investigation. Going on to say that even though we have a right to make requests to get public documents from public agencies, that right is constrained at certain moments. One time that's constrained is when something is under active investigation. The Waukesha Police Department is the lead agency investigating this case. The police department says it turned the investigation over to the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office for review.
Many times saying he wasn't feeling well. And when the question is asked, are you doing okay? And you say, no, I feel bad. I feel bad. I think that should have been enough.